Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on. And as it is June 6th, we are going to be watching The Longest Day from 1962. Directed by Ken Anakin, Andrew Martin, and Bernard Wicki, and starring John Wayne. Again, like a couple of the other movies that are already on this list, this is one of those movies that is one that stands out as, hey, this is a great example of this type of movie. This is a great ensemble. This is a great war. This is a great extended length movie. And I think it's that latter part that actually kept me away from watching this. Movie does almost crest the 3-hour mark, and my familiarity with watching war movies really isn't high on my priority list. However, when it came around to this list, this would definitely be the first time for me watching this movie. And like I had already mentioned, not only does this movie star John Wayne, but it also stars Henry Fonda, Robert Mitchum, Kurt Jurgens, Eddie Albert, and Fabian. Now, as a note to everyone watching this, yes, the actual full list of actors involved with this movie is numerous, and it spans several different continents as well. This movie itself dealing with basically 4 fronts in the issues that arise from this particular movie. We have a lot of German natural actors, we have a lot of French natural actors, we have a bunch of English actors as well as American actors, and the list from each of those pockets is very numerous and very notable for a lot that I didn't mention in this very short opening of list. So generally speaking, like I had mentioned, we deal with the occurrence happening on all 4 basically fronts technically, as the Allies are preparing for their major offensive in Normandy, intended on finally ridding Europe of the Nazi scourge. Every headquarters is in a frenzy. General Eisenhower hesitates over the set date to bad weather. Like so many movies on this list that are based on true events, of course, war is going to be a very central core. If we're not doing a biography about a particular artist, we're definitely going to be dealing with a war. Now, obviously, there have been other movies but a good majority of the movies that I've been watching have been centered around war because a lot of them do take place at a set time in our history. This movie is probably so far, one of the most fantastical movies that I've watched. Now, it's not spectacular in the fact that it's like state-of-the-art special effects or filmmaking techniques or whatever. It is a whose list that is like an arm length of who is acting in it. And we're dealing in like 62, so we're dealing with a lot of young versions of those that we know, and those that we already know of are a strong presence in them. And I'm talking like your Henry Fonda and your John Wayne and your Robert Mitchum and so forth. Now, because of the epic scope of the movie, like I said, almost 3-hour movie, we don't get a lot from almost anyone. Now, throughout the movie, we periodically are introduced to actual characters that are monumental in the storytelling, and they are marked with an actual title card of who this person is and where they belong in this story. And when I mention timing, out of this whole entire length of movie, the longest on-screen presence is John Wayne, and I believe roughly 18 to 20 minutes is like the maximum he is on screen. Henry Fonda is in like 2 scenes. We have a single scene with Sean Connery in it, and like 2 tiny little vignettes with Roddy McDowall, but even like Fabian shows up for a sequence, and Red Buttons of all notable faces as well shows up in this. But again, the idea of giving the audience a perspective from the different angles. The first 10 minutes is not in English. We deal with Germans and the French resistance as we approach the day that this is about to occur, that the offensive is about to occur. And then we deal with how the Americans deal with being in England in the rain and the cold and all that. And then the English going, well, let's hope this is... again, we're dealing with the Americans are like new to this war. But everyone just does a spectacular job. And again, the non-English portions are so beautifully done because, again, we're dealing with those native to the tongue acting in these roles, which gives an authentic feel to them, especially when we're dealing with the French resistance, which unfortunately we don't get a lot of. Again, we have 4 factions to deal with and 3 hours, so we have to narrow down, but a lot of what they do plays out beautifully. And again, when you have actual actors speaking their native tongue, it adds more to the reality of what you're watching. And as the movie plays out, we are dealing with the conflict that happened at Normandy, which is basically June 6th, 1944, which is about 50 minutes into this 2-hour and 58-minute movie. And when it came to the Academy Awards for that season, it ended up winning for Best Cinematography and Best Special Effects, and actually get nominations for Best Art Direction, Best Editing, and Best Picture. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this particular episode and look off into the future to see what we're going to be watching for tomorrow, which is the 7th of June, and that is going to be Forrest Gump from 1994. So until next time, go see a movie.